Hey friends, welcome back to our series, The Abundant Life. Have you ever experienced a power outage? Maybe you were at home and you were watching TV at night with your family, and then all of a sudden, whoa, it's dark in here. Can we get the lights back on? Whoa, that's so much better. Electricity, or as we call it, power, helps us see. We trust that when we flip a switch or press the power button on our remote, that it'll turn on, right? Well, today is all about power. But before we get to it, let's remind ourselves of last week's verse and learn this week's verse. Remember, the Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along the right paths, bringing honor to his name. All right, let me do that one more time and I'll add in this week's verse and then it's your turn. Here we go. The Lord is my shepherd. I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me behind peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. So today is all about power because the Lord, our shepherd, is powerful. Our big idea is this: God's power makes us strong. In our theme verses today, there were words like he leads, he renews, and he guides. God does all of these things as our shepherd, and he does them for us with his power and his love for us. God leads us to safe places because he is our safe place. He renews our strength because he is strength. He guides us because, you guessed it, he is our guide. God is powerful and his power is what gives us strength. Today's story is all about a guy who messed up hard. This guy was one of Jesus's followers and closest friends. This is a story about a very, very determined guy named Peter. Peter was a fisherman who was called by Jesus to become a disciple. Peter dropped everything and devoted his life to following Jesus. He became so close with Jesus and promised that he'd follow Jesus even to the cross. But when Peter was faced with hard times, he messed up big time. He told other people that he definitely didn't know Jesus and he was not one of Jesus's friends. Peter denied ever knowing Jesus. But God is powerful and God is forgiving. Jesus died on the cross for Peter and for all of us. Jesus faced the cross because of his love for us, and he came back to life again because he is powerful. After Jesus came back to life again, check out what he said to Peter.
Some of Jesus' followers were together when Peter said, "I am going fishing."
Okay.
So they all went out to the sea, but caught nothing all night. At dawn, they saw a man standing on the beach.
Oh, hey, over here.
The man called out to them and said, "Have you caught any fish?"
Nope.
The man said, "Throw out your net on the right side and you'll get some."
Okay.
So they did, and they couldn't bring in the net because there were so many fish in it. Then one of the men on the boat said to Peter, "It's Jesus." When Peter heard that it was Jesus, he swam to the shore while the others pulled in the load to the boat. When they got there, they found breakfast waiting for them.
I miss a fish. Got it.
Jesus said, "Come have some breakfast." While they were eating, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" Peter said, "Yes, you know I love you." So Jesus said, "Then feed my lambs." Then Jesus asked again, "Do you love me?" Peter said again, "Yes, you know I love you." And Jesus said, "Then take care of my sheep." And then a third time, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" Peter was hurt that Jesus asked the question a third time, so he said, "You know everything. You know that I love you." So Jesus said one last time, "Then feed my sheep." And so Peter went on to feed Jesus' sheep by helping establish the church and by writing books that we can now read in the Bible. And though he denied Jesus, he was forgiven, and many came to know the love and forgiveness of Jesus through Peter.
At one time in his life, Peter denied that he knew Jesus. Well, actually, not one time, 3 times. And in this moment, we see that Jesus asked Peter 3 times if he loved Jesus. In this moment, Jesus was working to restore or fix, to bring a new way to live to Peter. He was working to show Peter that God's power to forgive and love for us is even stronger than our mistakes. And that if we choose to say sorry and to commit to following Jesus, our lives will be used for God's glory. God's power is so strong. God's power is what made Peter strong. God's power is what helped Peter go on to write the books of 1st and 2nd Peter and to help start God's church in different parts of the world. When we make a mistake or feel like we've messed up big time, we can remember that if we come to Jesus, if we remember that God loves us and that we love God, if we say sorry and choose to continue to follow Jesus, God's power can help us do amazing things too. God's power is what can help us have the strength to say sorry when we feel ashamed or guilty. God's power is what can give us the strength and help us choose to make new decisions, to love God and to love others. And God's power is what can help us be strong when we face hard times. In our verses for today, Psalm 23 reminds us that God renews our strength, which means that He gives us new strength when we feel like we don't have any. God renewed Peter's strength when Peter messed up big time, and God renews our strength too if we ask Him. So, what can we learn from the story of Jesus forgiving and restoring Peter? That God's power is what makes us strong. Take some time to work on memorizing Psalm 23, verses 1 through 3 this week so that you can always remember that the Lord, your shepherd, renews your strength. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.